It's common knowledge that Christianity, as we know it today, would not exist if some very influential leaders had not adopted it. As much good work and influence as the early Christian church had, Christians remained very, very persecuted throughout the early Roman Empire by both Jews and Gentiles. Stephen was accused of blasphemy and killed by the Sanhedrin, Acts 7. Saint Antipas was widely believed to have been martyred, as Revelation 2:13 cites that Antipas, my faithful witness, was killed among you, where Satan dwells. And these were just the killed and martyred Christians noted in the Bible. It's easy to see the dominance of Christianity in the West today, and see it as a faith that was always dominant. But the Roman Empire before Constantine actively persecuted Christians as Christianity spread through the Roman Empire. According to historian Michael Gaddis, the emperors before Constantine, Diocletian, Maximian, Galerius, and Constantius, issued a bunch of edicts that rescinded Christian legal rights and demanded that Christians comply with local religious practices. It was known as the Diocletianic prosecution, the most severe persecution of Christians in the Roman Empire. The persecution of Christians ended with the next emperor. Constantine took power, and Christianity started to transition to being the dominant religion in the Roman Empire. His mother, Helena, had been a devout Christian, and symbolically, Constantine and the Eastern Emperor, Licinius, issued the Edict of Milan, where Constantine declared himself a Christian, and where Constantine wrote to Christians that he owed his success to God alone. The most obvious question we have for Constantine's conversion is, well, why? Did he do it because he hated seeing the persecution of Christians, because he really believed, or out of ulterior personal gain? Historians are still uncertain as to which form of early Christianity he really converted to, whether he believed in the Trinity or not. But do the motives really matter in comparison to the outcomes? Even if Constantine were using Christianity to conduct propaganda, the church was no longer persecuted and spread throughout Rome. According to J.F. Matthews and Donald McGillivray Nicholl on Britannica, Constantine spent a lot of time as a member of the imperial court in the eastern provinces, a Latin-speaking institution that was seen as less than Greek at the time. Constantine was always significantly more at home with Latin than Greek. In the cities in the east that Constantine traveled, Christianity was a major issue of public policy, and some of his family members may have been Christians. Constantine was the son of a previous emperor, Constantius, who requested his presence in France to help rule. Constantine and his father would fight in Britain in a campaign before Constantius's death in modern-day York in 306. When his father died, Constantine was proclaimed emperor by his army. Rome would then be beset by many civil wars, when a man named Maxentius, the son of the previous emperor, Maximian, rebelled against Emperor Severus. Maxentius would be proclaimed Western Emperor. Constantine, who had married Maxentius's sister, Fausta, invaded Italy in 312 and defeated Maxentius near Rome. Constantine became the Western Emperor, and within 10 years, attacked Licinius, the emperor in the east, and became the sole emperor of the Roman Empire until his death in 337. But why did he convert to Christianity? The year of Constantine's formal conversion coincided with his defeat of Maxentius and the later Edict of Milan. Constantine ascribed his success to his conversion and the support of the Christian God. With greater faith he gained more power. But Constantine would not get baptized until his death in 337. In the Battle of the Milvian Bridge, where he defeated Maxentius, Eusebius of Caesarea reported that Constantine saw a vision at midday. The Christ of God appeared to him with the sign which had appeared in the sky, and urged him to make himself a copy of the sign which had appeared in the sky, and to use this as a protection against the attacks of the enemy. Eusebius of Caesarea, Vita Constantini, 1.29. Once Constantine defeated Maxentius, he performed an adventus where he went into the city in a grand fashion. When he went inside, he ignored the altars to the traditional Roman gods, did not carry out sacrifices to celebrate his entry, and headed directly to the imperial palace. In the Edict of Milan, Constantine and Licinius stated, "It should be proper that the Christians and all others should have liberty to follow that mode of religion, which to each of them appeared best." Constantine then took the role of patron of the faith, supporting the church financially, and building a city called Constantinople in Byzantium, which started to employ Christian architecture and churches, tearing down temples from other religions. Constantine didn't have to use force to do it, but instead withheld funds to other temples. He also declared Sunday a day of rest, banned the act of crucifixion because of Christianity, and made sure that prisoners were given time in the outdoors and daylight. Gladiatorial games were eliminated from public display. Buildings like the Hagia Sophia and St. Peter's Basilica would not be possible without Constantine. He also made members of his court convert to Christianity, and those from Roman families who didn't were denied positions of power. However, they still received appointments, and despite Constantine's efforts, more than two-thirds of his government was non-Christian. Constantine's beliefs himself were very complicated. He found himself torn between believing in an Arian god versus a Trinitarian god. The reason why he didn't get baptized until death was because he felt like he would be in less danger of polluting his soul and not getting into heaven if he sinned before baptism. We have heard often about the importance of the separation of the church and the state in Western society, but what we fail to acknowledge is that the separation had to be enforced because of the very influential precedent Constantine made in not only accepting the church, but mixing the church and the state. Many historians consider Constantine's conversion merely political and not religious, but his reluctance towards baptism shows a deep contemplation with the faith and not just regular nonchalance. Constantine taking full control of the Roman Empire was risky, especially given that Maxentius's army was 4 times bigger than his. Without the support of powerful bishops like Eusebius, Constantine would have never become the emperor. Let it also be clear that Constantine was no saint. He was a power-hungry emperor who killed his wife and son, and was responsible for murdering a lot of people. With Constantine, the church not only became accepted, but became linked to and a tool of the state, and vice versa. With the support and power of the church, Constantine had power. He moved the capital of the Roman Empire to Constantinople in 330, leaving Rome suddenly no longer the powerhouse center of the empire it used to be. Just because you publicly convert to Christianity and legitimize Christianity when it used to be persecuted, doesn't mean you're a Christian. Whether Constantine genuine about his faith has been a long-standing historical question. Constantine's mother, Helena, was a devout Christian, and it could have been easy for Constantine to just go along with the faith for political reasons because of his mother's devotion. When faith is a centerpiece to a parent's life, any child feels a strong compulsion to go along. There's good enough reason to doubt the sincerity of Constantine's faith. Constantine built a triumphal arch in Rome after his conversion, but the symbol was devoted to the unconquered sun, not a Christian symbol. Constantine even made a day of the sun a state holiday that was a day off for everyone, regardless. For Christians, Constantine was someone who did a lot of good for the faith, but it's important to know that Constantine was first and foremost a politician. Just because he proclaimed the faith and did a lot of good things for Christianity doesn't mean that he should be treated as a god. Maybe you can argue that God used Constantine to stop the persecution of Christians, but it seems like Constantine's main motivation was power, not Christ. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe.